This is the Skoda Kylaq. It's the most important model for Skoda since the Kushaq and Slavia. In fact, Skoda is banking on this model to further its growth in the Indian market. It enters the very hotly contested subcompact SUV market. In fact, the Kylaq is quite late to the party, but Skoda feels that this is the car that can really give it a lot of volumes. Now from the front, the Kylaq sports Skoda's new design language. It looks very, very modern. The grille treatment, it's a little narrower but longer over here. The light treatment, again, very slim DRLs, LED DRLs in the front and the LED projector lamps right down there. Now, don't forget that this car is based on the same platform as the Kushaq, but it's just been shortened to under 4 meters. 3995 mm is the length to be precise, and the wheelbase too has been shortened by about 85 mm. But the Kushaq had a long wheelbase to start with. So even with that shortening, this wheelbase is actually amongst the best in class. In fact, after the XUV 3XO, this has the longest wheelbase, which points to a lot of room inside. But again, before we jump in, let's have a quick look at the side. Again, very, very clean lines. What's missing is those double calictor lines of the Kushaq, because that requires an extra operation in the press. That's a bit of a cost, so they've saved that cost by just having a flat panel over here. The proportions are really good. You've got short overhangs which kind of accentuate the longish wheelbase. 17-inch wheels which fill out the wheel arches quite well. 205/55 are 17 tires on the top spec models. And to give it a sporty touch or put the sport in the SUV name, you've got these solid black roof rails. But again, looking at the lines, very clean, very taut, really well proportioned. You've got this nice sort of flared bit over here which gives a little muscle to the haunches. Let's turn around at the back. You've got these solid lights over here which again give a nice 3D effect, and you've got the Skoda name. Now they're spelling the Skoda name over here in letters. That is the new design, or the way Skoda is now naming its cars, with the full letters. Kylaq badge over here, so that clearly tells you what it is. And again, looking at the back, it is again looking very compact, very solid, very muscular. And Skoda has really aced it with the Kylaq's boot, which is the biggest in class. 446 liters, that's a lot, but it's not just the volume, it's the size and shape of the boot which really makes you pack in quite a bit. Now you've got these 3 kind of carry-ons over here. There's space for a 4th, but you can even take 2 large suitcases, and if you want even more space, the seats flip forward in a 60-40 split. It's a deep boot, so the load lip is a bit high, but again, not too high. But I think what I want to show you is that even under the boot, there's enough space for an almost full-size tire. Yeah, you've got this 195/65 R15 spare wheel, which is actually big enough or safe enough to take you home even over a long distance. So the Kylaq's cabin is again familiar territory. It is very much similar to the Kushaq in design. You've got the same vertical air vents on the side, horizontal air vents in the center, the same 2-spoke steering wheel, 2 digital displays, an 8-inch instrument cluster where you can configure the layout. But it's got a single dial, a lot of wasted space at the edges, just like in the Kushaq. And I think later on, what I've heard is you might get a twin dial setup, but that's a couple of years down the road. The 10-inch display also is quite readable, legible, and the good news is that it comes with a new operating system, so it's much faster to use and it's a little bit more responsive. But again, in terms of content, they could have had a lot more. But otherwise, in terms of features, you've got pretty much what you want by class standards. You've got wireless charging over here. You've got wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. The same slider controls for the fan blower and the temperature. You've got ventilated front seats as well, and you've got a powered seat for the driver. And in fact, Skoda takes it one up on its rivals by even giving a powered seat for the passenger. And of course, the Kylaq gets that all-important sunroof, but it's not a panoramic one and a rather small single pane unit. And you don't get a 360-degree reverse camera, which some of the competitors offer. Talking safety, the Kylaq gets 6 airbags and Skoda is gunning for a full 5-star rating, whether it's GNCAP or BNCAP. Seats are very, very comfortable. Overall, the cabin is very functional. You've got these large door bins over here which can take 1-liter bottles, a pretty big glove box, cup holders over here, central storage bin as well. Overall, the plastics, lower plastics, seem a little hard, not as plush as we would have liked the way the Koreans do it. But you've got some nice, interesting design touches. You've got these little textures over here which kind of give a little bit of character to the dashboard. And this little pod over here for the power window and mirror controls, which looks pretty cool as well. So yes, from the driver's seat, a lot of space all around. As I said, the seat's quite comfy, enough space in the footwell and a dead pedal as well. So really, they've got the ergonomics spot on. Now let's check out the back and see how spacious it is. So even with the shortened wheelbase, legroom is pretty decent. What's really impressive is the seat itself. Fantastic under-thigh support, very, very generous, nice high seating position. That H point, it's really quite good over here. You've got a flip-down armrest, adjustable headrests, and the window line, it is a bit high. Would have liked it a bit lower, but again, overall, you really get a decent sense of space over here. Of course, you've got dedicated air vents, 2 USB-C ports over here, little flap over here for a bit of storage. I don't quite like these seat covers. The stitching could have been a bit better, just like in the Kushaq. This is one sore point over there. You've got cabin lights over here, which are again very, very practical. The cabin is narrow. Again, the Kushaq suffered from being narrow at the back, and you have that same issue over here. So this really is best as a 4-seater, and as a 4-seater, I must say it is very comfortable by compact SUV standards. So unlike the Kushaq, which really felt small by mid-size SUV standards, the Kylaq, it feels pretty spacious by compact SUV standards. And one small benefit of having a shorter wheelbase is that the body structure can be made a bit stiffer. And now with a stiffer body structure, Skoda has been able to go slightly softer on the suspension. In fact, the suspension, the little we drove it on the camo cars, is probably the best in the segment. And you can see there's a lot of wheel travel over here. I mean, there's a fair bit within the arches. So really, this is a pretty soft suspension with a lot of wheel travel, which gives a lot of comfort, especially on rough surfaces. Disc brakes in front, of course, but drums at the back. Even the Kushaq has drums at the back. But overall, this is a very similar mechanical package to the Kushaq. So really, it's a mini Kushaq in many ways. The engine also, it's the 1-liter TSI, which has been carried over from the Kushaq, 115 horsepower, mated to a 6-speed manual and a 6-speed automatic. It's a torque converter. It's the DQ 250, the Aisin gearbox. We know that powertrain quite well from the Kushaq, and in our brief drive, it's really worked very well. So again, in terms of performance, that engine is a strong engine, and I think that's what's going to give this car its fun to drive character. So what's special about the Kylaq? What will make it stand out in this very competitive compact SUV segment? Well, it's a no-nonsense product which has a great fun to drive character. But to tell you how serious Skoda is about this product, take a look at the price. This just tells you how serious Skoda is about the Kylaq, because on the broad shoulders of this compact SUV hinges Skoda's near-term future.